Since we've kind of hung out, we'll get started. Just to say hello one more time to everyone, I'm Megan from CG Pro Prints. We are going to be hosting webinars like these at least once a month moving forward. Hopefully, we're going to be featuring both our vendor partners in the industry as well as a lot of our photography clients that want to share some photography and just some business knowledge with everybody, just so you guys can get more and more helpful content from us. So look out for more information on that. Chip is actually our third webinar that he'll be presenting as for the third month that we've been doing this, and he'll be, of course, covering workflow and streamlining some of your processes for your business to make sure you get back to the time that you really want and that you want to do. So I'll turn it over to Chip, and if you guys have questions for us, I'll be monitoring the chat box. We'll answer what we can throughout, and then of course we'll leave time at the end, so be sure to let us know. And Chip, over to you.
Awesome. All right, off we go. So as a preface to this conversation, when we I mentioned a minute ago, for those who were on, when we started our company, it was born out of necessity. We were shooting for a studio that we had 2 or 3 or 4 main photographers, and we were doing 100+ weddings a year. It was very busy. We were all keeping all the workflow in-house, all the post-processing in-house. And it was kind of a season where we realized that if we didn't figure out how to streamline and make simple and to expedite as many of the steps of our workflow as possible, we were going to die. Like, there was just too much work, which was a blessing, certainly, but it came to a kind of a mission critical point that we decided, okay, let's build something that will make this easier for us. And we did that. We used it for a couple of years, and then we decided to bring it, make it more widely available, kind of bring it to the market. But that mindset, that mantra, has kind of been something that stuck with me over the decade plus that I've been working as a photographer. I didn't get into photography because I wanted to do all of this to-do list every single time. I got into photography because I want to make art. I want to be around people. I want to celebrate people's weddings with them. My focus is wedding photography, but the things we'll talk about today will be overarching into other areas or genres of photography as well. But so the conversation we're going to have today is kind of our, we posted a blog post recently, 5 steps to mastering your workflow. And mastering is a bit of there's a bit of an asterisk by that, because it's kind of one of those things that you can get a good handle on it in a number of months, but you can spend years or decades truly mastering your workflow. These tips, we think, have been they've been very helpful for us, those of us in our company who also work as photographers, and I think that they will be very helpful to lots of other people who might just be struggling to kind of get over that hump of, man, I'm drowning in workflow. I'm not able to meet with new clients. I'm not able to meet with vendors. I'm not able to do the things that I want to and need to be doing for my business. So that was kind of our motivation in putting this list, this post together. So I'll kind of be talking through. I certainly won't patronize by reading the blog post to you. You can do that on your own. But the 5 steps begin with the shoot itself. And so yeah, let's kick off. The first of the steps is to shoot intentionally. It might sound like a no-brainer to shoot things on purpose, but at the same time, for lots of new photographers who are kind of feeling out their style, especially maybe event photographers who are getting into the rhythm of a wedding day or of a corporate event, they might show up going, well, I'll just shoot whatever happens as it happens. And I think in some cases, maybe the downside of that might be that you get there and you shoot and you get excited about it, and the feedback after the clients see their images are, well, there's not an image of this thing here. And for example, I'll give you an example. Early in my career, the shot that was just, so I started shooting in 2006, kind of just after, a few years after the digital kind of rollover. And it was coming out of a phase of very stoic posed wedding photography with big light setups, and everybody stop right there. I'm gonna take your photo, and now you can walk down the aisle, right? Like bride and dad walking down the aisle. and it moved towards a very documentarian photojournalistic style of photography. And one of the shots that I have always loved is a wide angle, low angle shot of the bride walking down the aisle, but from behind. You see the dress, you see the everybody turn to look at her. It's a beautiful photo. Early in my career, there was a wedding where I got just what I felt like was a world rocking one of those shots that I love. And I had my second shooter in the balcony because that's where they were allowed to be in that particular church. And while I did get a photo of bride and dad from the front outside of the chapel, I didn't get the standing in the aisle, walking forward kind of shot, right? So, and the mother of the bride was devastated. We shot that wedding very well, but the one thing we missed was the thing that was apparently a deal breaker for them. I was young and I was inexperienced and I made a mistake, and it was very, very healthy learning process and opportunity there. But it helped me to get my head around, okay, there are some things that I have to do. I have to get these kinds of shots for these clients. And once I get those kinds of shots, then kind of all bets are off and I can make art. I can do the things that I would like to do as I'm serving my clients. So when I approach a wedding these days, I don't work from a shot list where I'm literally scratching things off of a list, but in my head, I think, okay, I've got to get this kind of photo, this photo, that photo. And I try to execute those as quickly as I can. Same with photo sessions, whether it be high school seniors or children or families or babies. The photos that I know my clients are going to expect from me, I try to execute those as early and as efficiently in the shoot as I can, so that we can move on to the fun stuff, the stuff that really they'll fall in love with as soon as they see it. But going for the must-have stuff first will help your workflow, and I'll come back to that with the second one, which the second step is sort immediately. People call it the cull, the edit, the choosing favorites and all that stuff. I call it sorting my images. I have a keep file and a discard file, and then I've got favorites that are in there. But as much as possible, the moment a shoot's over, I try to drive directly to my computer, whether that's at home, at my office, or sometimes it's my laptop, download the files as quickly as I can, get them backed up onto a second drive or device as quickly as I can, and I immediately begin my sort. The reason that's important to me, that I've found that being beneficial, is that everything's still fresh. I'm still kind of like, all those memories are firmly in the right cortices that I can draw them up quickly and kind of relive the shoot as I look through it. What that does one of the benefits that does is, say it's a family photo session and I get the family set up in this area that I like. I may take 20, 24 shots in this one setting. But it might really be just those last 6 that are the winners. If I wait 2 weeks before I start my sort, I might not remember that, oh, you know what, it was really just those last 6 that were killer. And I might like go back and forth, like, well, is it number 3 or number 8? Is it number 8 or number 11 or number 16, before I get to the ones that are really the winners. And so I've wasted time in deciding which ones I want to keep. And I've also, in some cases, if I'm going through quickly, I'll keep 6 of those when I should have kept 2. And what that does is it just compounds, because then when I get to the processing part, that's going to take longer because there are more images. So for me, whether it's whatever type of shoot it is, I try to sort as quickly as I can while it's fresh in my brain. In fact, my friend Jenny, who lives in Raleigh, North Carolina, Fran, I'm not sure if you know Jenny Corbett, but well, let me pause for a second. For anybody who doesn't know Jenny Corbett, you need some Jenny Corbett in your life. She's an amazing photographer. She does weddings. She's a brilliant photographer, but genuinely one of the most hilarious and fun people I've ever met in my life. Find her on Instagram at Jenny. As a second photographer with her at weddings, and most of the day they're both shooting at the same time. But during the reception, like the periods of open dance, the periods where there's a little bit of, you can afford a bit of downtime, she'll take her laptop and the first part of the evening she'll have her second photographer download and back up the images while Jenny's kind of covering the events of the on the dance floor and that sort of thing. And at some point they'll switch. Jenny will go sit down and she'll download and start sorting. But she'll start sorting through all the getting ready parts of the day, the ceremony part of the day, the portrait section of the day, so that by the time she gets home from a wedding, the only thing that she has left to download and sort is the reception. So she'll stay up an extra hour and 15, hour and a half, and sort that. And before she goes to bed that night, the entire wedding is sorted. She's not up till 5, doing all this work. But her images are sorted, renamed, backed up, and ready to go where they need to go. Which brings up the next item. This one is maybe the most controversial on the list, and so we'll spend just a little bit of time on that. The third step is send images. Yeah, this one is a little open to artistic interpretation, because a lot of people really love the notion of sending off their images for and outsourcing their post-production. There are lots of others who really want to keep their fingers on everything, and well, I want to call it my artistry, so I'm going to keep this in-house. Whichever way you choose is right for you. It took me a long time to get comfortable with the notion of sending out images for post-processing, but these days there have been a huge number of companies just in the last 4 or 5 years that have come into the scene to do post-processing, and it's almost like in the film days, like a quality print lab. The photographer would make the images, send off their negatives to be developed. The print lab would develop the film and create the prints. And the benefit of that was the photographer can move on to other parts of their workflow. And when you find a print lab in that case that's creating the type of look and coloration that you want, you stick with it and you adapt, and that's kind of fits your style. The beauty these days is that the digital print labs, as it were, the post-processing houses, there's almost no limit to the type of looks, the style, the feel that they can produce for you. And you can through kind of a uploading test images, a trial and error sort of thing, you can refine how they match your style, to the pixel almost, and so sending off images is a fantastic way to get back what could be 2 days of your life in post-production per shoot, per wedding shoot, or an entire afternoon maybe for a family session or engagement session or that sort of thing.
Chip, do you mind if I ask if you have any recommendations for like editing software or editing companies that you would use for something like that?
Sure. Let me, if it's okay, can I put a list together?
Absolutely.
I'm a little hesitant just to spout off, 2 or 3, and like just for favoritism's sake and all that. But I don't want to give the impression.
I know I put you on the spot.
No, all good. If it's okay, if we can follow up with that list, and
Yeah.
There may be some things all through this talk that might lend themselves to having some follow-up information as well. So what we can do, Chip, is we'll send a follow-up email to everybody that registered or everybody that was attending. Sure.
And we'll just send that list with that and just kind of give some follow-up info from there. So anyone on right now, just know that we'll be in touch after the webinar. Okay.
Perfect.
Back to you.
Yeah, cool. No, thank you. It's a good question. And there's, finding a post-processing house is easy to do. Finding one that fits your style, or finding one that's reputable, or finding one that people you trust also trust, maybe is a little more taxing. You maybe have to put in a little more legwork for that. I would recommend it. I recommend for anybody who might ever see this video, whether you're watching live or on the recording, get connected with local groups in your area of photographers, even national groups, like whether it's through PPA or WPPI. Maybe it's just a simple Facebook, like there's a Houston photographers Facebook page. It's got a couple thousand people on it, that I'm a part of. It's a great resource for, hey guys, I'm looking for a post-processing company. Does anybody have one to recommend, or are there any that you would avoid? And so finding one that is trusted by people you know and trust would probably be a really great place to start. Reach out with an email. They usually will allow you to send a dozen or so images, and they'll process them, and you can kind of refine the look that way. But anyway, I'll stop harping on that. But to close this point, offloading this kind of major step of your workflow just buys you back hours or days, and over the course of a year will buy you back weeks and weeks and weeks worth of sanity, frankly. So I at least consider it. If you're not currently sending images off, at least give it a thought. Step 4, the next one, share incrementally. We all know that no one can hire you for your photography work if they've not ever seen your photography work. Luckily and thankfully, social media has made it super easy, super cheap, super convenient to get your work out there. And while everyone in this group might be in the practice of finishing a wedding, editing your favorite selection of images and then throwing them up on your blog, that's a fantastic place to start. But utilizing other avenues, obviously Facebook is kind of where everyone lives these days. Instagram is a great way to discover new artists, new people, for other people to discover you. Utilizing hashtags wisely and image tags for SEO and your blog post is huge. Oh golly, a friend of mine shared with me recently that actually I'm going to read this part because I'm going to forget who the Think Splendid. It's a web publisher. They did a recent study that revealed that Pinterest is the most used social media platform among wealthy brides and grooms as they're planning their wedding. And while Pinterest may not be in that huge, like 2012, 13, 14, like when it was just really climbing and everybody was just jumping on the Pinterest bandwagon, it is still the go-to place for essentially your brides and grooms. And even with family and baby photography, when a new mom wants to pick a baby photographer or wants to decide what kind of baby photos she wants, she's likely going to go to Pinterest and type in baby photography. And if she's smart, she'll type baby photography, my city. And if you're not there, she won't find you. So as we're gonna pause a little bit in this segment, and I'd like to show you a couple of things with BlogStomp, because BlogStomp makes it super easy to set up and to share things online. We've got you can publish your blog directly from within BlogStomp. You can upload a Facebook album directly. You can post to Twitter with an image from BlogStomp. And I'd like to show just a couple of things that can help streamline this part of the workflow, if that's all right. Megan, do we have a second for that? Oh, you're muted.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yes. I'd love to see that, and hopefully it'll help a few people just kind of see what your workflow does. So let's go for it.
Cool. So I'm going to, let's see, I think can everybody see the BlogStomp screen with some grapevines and trees right now?
I can see it, Chip, and we'll just make sure everybody, see if anybody on the chat can come.
Let's see. I'm checking.
It looks like it's pulled up. Yeah, it looks like we're a little behind, but it should be pulled up.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so what we're seeing right now is BlogStomp 3.5. It's our current release of BlogStomp, and there's a ton of cool stuff that we've built in specifically for sharing purposes. The first thing I want to talk about, I'm going to go into our settings menu and go to our styles pane. Styles are the different looks that you can design around your BlogStomp images. Actually, let me change this real quick. Okay, so you can create borders and with little tabs here. You can add a logo. You can select your blog width. This will be basically what it's doing is taking your high-res full-size photos. It's resizing them for the web. It's optimizing them. It'll build collages that'll fit within your sizing parameters, so that when you export from BlogStomp, or when you upload directly from BlogStomp, the images are just the right size they need so they look their absolute best online. So I've got several different styles set up here, and I'd like to talk through a couple of them and just point out a couple of things really quick. So for my blog, because I like to shoot with thirds a lot, so sometimes my subject is heavily on the right or heavily on the left. So I have two different styles set up for my blog. You can see blog R and blog L. And basically blog R has the logo on the right and blog L has the logo on the left. BlogStomp makes it easy to, oh, let me grab that style. BlogStomp makes it easy to grab your logo and move it around on the frame. And then you can stomp it with the logo in this spot. But for me, I almost never move my logo from that bottom left corner or the bottom right corner. So for me, it made more sense to set up two different styles like that. It was as easy as hitting this duplicate button right here and just moving the logo to the other side and saving it. Next is Facebook. I use a dedicated style for Facebook, and we heavily recommend that BlogStomp comes preloaded with this style setup. Facebook is tricky. I'm gonna talk about Facebook for just a second. I mentioned before that Facebook is kind of where everybody lives, right? And that's probably true no matter who you are. Most everybody you know spends a great amount of their time on Facebook. So for us as photographers, as artists, as business owners, it's really critically important that we have a presence on Facebook. The thing that we have to remember, and this is super important, Facebook is not a photo sharing site. Facebook is a social media site. So where with photo sharing sites, of paramount importance to them is making sure that your images look their best. With Facebook, that is not the case. They honestly could not give two poops about what your images look like. They want to make it easier for you to share them, and they want to make the file sizes of those images as small as they can because they're being hosted now. As soon as you upload it, they're hosted on Facebook servers. So Facebook's priority is fast page load times and to limit the amount of space that's taken up on their servers. So what Facebook will do is compress the mess out of every photo or set of photos that you upload to it. It would be like exporting from Lightroom or saving a JPEG at around like a 40 or 43, 45 quality setting, which for any of us who's tested with that before, we would never do. In fact, our recommendation is to save at 85, quality of 85 or above, because after that you start to really see degradation in the file. We get emails all the time from folks who are like, man, my images look like crap on Facebook. And while there are some things we can help with to minimize that, the fact remains and will always remain that Facebook is going to do whatever they want with your images when it comes to file compression. It's just kind of part and parcel of being on Facebook. So with that said, two things to remember. One, the best place to showcase your images is on your website. So everything you do with social media should point people to your website. That's super important. We'll come back around to that in a minute. And number two, Facebook has recommendations for size and JPEG quality and upload size and stuff like that. They recommend that you upload a JPEG file with the longest edge of 2048 pixels, and that the JPEG, our interpretation is that the JPEG quality should be as low as you can go without sacrificing quality. So this Facebook style in BlogStomp is set to 2048 with a JPEG quality of 85. Now there's still definitely 100% going to compress your file once you upload it, but through our tests, through the last several years of experience with this, we find that the quality is preserved better when we follow their guidelines. So that's what this all is about. And so that make sure that when you're sending, in the past, I would stomp images from my blog, and I was using a blog that was 900 pixels wide, and then I would just send those images everywhere. And it's really not a good way to do things because every different platform is going to resize your images to fit their needs. So one of the things that we pushed for with BlogStomp 3 was to make it easy to export images for different platforms quickly and simply, and I'll show that in just a minute. Last couple things here real quick. I keep a dedicated style set up for vendors. It's really important, especially for wedding and event photographers, to share your images with your vendors. Let people do your marketing for you. Let them help. Like the more a florist gets excited about how amazing your photos of her flowers are, the more she's going to want to share them. And giving her a way to do that will point back to you is always a good plan. So obviously I've got the Blog Stomp logo in here for my photography business. Instead of having my logo, which actually is my signature, I have it simply says chipgillespie.com for all the vendor ones, because I don't want there to be any difficulty in people finding me when they see my images on someone else's website or on someone else's social media. The same is true for Pinterest and some other things. Instagram is another fun one, right? Because Instagram has a lot of different restrictions as well. One of them being a 1080 pixel image width. And the other most annoying being that they won't allow you to upload from a desktop computer or from a third-party app. At least they don't sanction it. And I've heard of accounts getting shut down who have used third-party apps to upload. So what we can do in Blog Stomp is help you prep the images for upload to Instagram. And I'll show that in just a minute. So I would recommend setting up a variety of different styles. Get them fit for your blog, for Facebook, for vendor submission, for Instagram, for Pinterest, for wherever you share images. And make sure that your logo, that your web URL, make sure that there's ways in there for people to find you when they find your images online. So let's get out of here and let's go to freestyle mode. Freestyle mode is where we can take images in either individually or as sets, and we can build collages. We can mix up the layouts and the designs. And in this version of Blog Stomp, we can even double click and rearrange the designs by hand if we want to do that. And then from here, we can stomp them based on the different styles we've set up. I don't know if you guys can see the pop-up boxes. Are you guys seeing the styles box here? Megan, can you see that?
I can see that. And actually, Chip, we have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Really quick, that's sort of relevant to what you were just talking about, so I just wanted to stop you. We'll touch on a lot of these questions, everybody, as soon as Chip is done with the demo. But let's see. Guest 9595 asked if you could mention the Facebook recommendations for sizing again. It looks like someone answered with 2048 to 85% better JPEG quality, but I didn't know if you wanted to just clarify again.
Yes, that's especially with Facebook, we try to like every month we check Facebook sizing recommendations just to make sure, because it jumped from, I think it was 720 to 900 to 1200, right, now 2048. So they're liable to change at any moment at their discretion and whim. For now, as of the latest information, that's correct. It's 2048 pixels on the longest edge. And our recommendation is 85% or better JPEG quality. Really, I would say 85% exactly, because if you set it at 90 or 95, that just means they're going to compress it more. So I'd say give them as little to compress as possible without sacrificing the quality before you upload. So yeah.
And then they said, what about resolution? Is there any resolution that you recommend? I know web is usually about 96 to.
Well, so here's the fun part. Ready? This is a fun conversation too. So web resolution was originally based on whatever the monitor resolution was at the time, right? And back in the day, that was 72. So 72 kind of became the benchmark for low res, right? And then came to 96 at some point. The truth of the matter is, the internet does not use, see, or observe pixel density, because the internet doesn't control the viewing device, the screen itself, right?
Got it.
So pixel count for use online is the only thing that matters for your sizing, and pixel density doesn't. If you upload a 3000 pixel image at 3 pixels per inch, it will still look 3000 pixels online. if you upload a 3,000 pixel image at 3,000 pixels per inch, it'll still look 3,000 pixels online. So sorry, I don't mean to shout down anyone, but it is really important. It's a common question we get to. Why does my image say that it's 300 dpi? I was like, well, that tag that your computer assigned it is telling you this thing, but it's all like it does. Like if you went to print, that would matter, and of course, Megan, in your context, that definitely matters. It's very critical what the pixel density is. Online, it just flat doesn't. So I would encourage folks who are listening, reading here, to keep that in mind, that pixel count over pixel density in this case.
Cool. So as long as you've got the 85% compression, the sizing that you need, then you will be
set up the best for Facebook to then do their best to destroy your photos. It really is. It's not all doom and gloom. And like, I will say Facebook has come a long way, and photos these days on Facebook look a lot better than they did maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago. So I don't know if maybe their compression algorithms have been updated or what. They're still going to crunch the heck out of your photos. But that goes back to kind of my point number one a minute ago. Facebook is not the best place to show images online. It's the best place. It's not the best display for your images online. It's the best place to get them out there, to send them broadly, but always be pointing people back to your website, where your photos will always look better there than anywhere else. So I want to demo one more thing before I get out of this pain, if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep on going.
Sharing images, super critical. Let's all just kind of agree with that. But now that we've discussed how you can set up different styles and different sizing and all that, what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to stomp this image, then re-import the same images and set it up with a different style, stomp it again, re-import again? The answer is obviously no. I'm going to show you a couple of things you can do in BlogStomp that will really speed up this part of the process. I'm going to go to settings and go to general this time. By default, BlogStomp will remove images that you've already stomped, but we're going to turn that off, and we're going to turn off this select next image and list as well. Now, before we come out of here, we're going to hit OK to save that change. And so now I want to show one more thing. BlogStomp remembers the order of your styles in the list, and it will assign kind of a 1, 2, 3, 4 designation to the different styles you choose. So in freestyle mode, if I hit the 1 key, it's going to stomp this set of images for blog write. So I'm going to hit 1, and you'll see it change. The size of the preview got bigger, and the logo down at the bottom changed. If I hit 2, it's going to do the same thing, stomp them for blog left, and now the logo changed. And then if I hit 3, I think 3 was my Facebook style, which had a different logo. There we go. And then 4 might have been Instagram. Anyway, or no, that was the vendor one. So stomping. So with those settings in the general pane changed, what I'm able to do now is I can go through and like, okay, I want to send these to my blog. I want to send these to Instagram, to Facebook, and Pinterest. So I can go through on each set of photos, and I can go 1, 3, 4, 5. And then when I'm done, I can either hit the delete key or hit this X down here and go to the next set of photos. So now I want to take maybe these photos, and I want to send a collage. Let's go like this. And I want to send these photos to the same. So I can go 1, 3, 4, and 5. And now I've stomped this set of photos for all of those 4 different places. And oh goodness, I've got a mess in here. Oh, that's old stomp, sorry. So what'll happen is it will stomp those, and you can grab them and send them to where you want them to go. And it's super easy to prep the images very quickly for those different avenues. There's also, so I mentioned before that you can publish to your blog directly from BlogStomp. You can upload a Facebook album directly from BlogStomp, but Instagram is still kind of, it's a bit of a white rhino for us. They've not opened up connectivity that will allow us to publish directly. What we can do, though, we built in an Instagram cropping frame that will crop your images to square, or you can add kind of padding top and bottom. You can keep your logo in place or move it where you want it to be. And then when you hit stomp it to prep for to finalize these steps for Instagram, a message will come up saying, your Instagram photo has been stomped. Would you like to email this image to yourself now? And I can email this photo to my own email address. I can open it up on my phone and save it there, and then it's ready to go up to Instagram from the Instagram app on my phone. It's not perfect. It's not as super cool as we wish it was, but it's as close as we've been able to get, and without breaking Instagram's terms of use. So that can be a handy way to prep images here. Of course, obviously, you can just stomp it to your computer and transfer it to your phone in a number of ways there, but just kind of wanted to share that. So for me, one of the biggest things that I was excited about when we launched BlogStomp 3 in 2016 was the 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of buttons, and BlogStomp will save 1 through 9. You can do up to 9 pre-saved styles, and that'll kind of serve as a hotkey. So that's pretty handy. It's a way to make sure that your images will look their best wherever you send them, and kind of, oh goodness, I was trying to stop the screen sharing. There we go. It's our way to make it as easy as possible to prep your images for the different platforms you'll be using, so they'll look their best, so that you don't have to worry as much about the final destination resizing or reshaping or otherwise affecting your images. That was a long step 4. Do we want to pause for a second, or do we want to jump into step 5 and wrap up the 5 steps real quick? What do you think, Megan?
Let's see. So we do have some questions in the chat box. I know that we'll save some time at the end, but I just want to see if there was anybody that had some questions that were right from the sort of relevant to what you were just explaining. So someone said, can you send the IG photo to Dropbox so you can download to your phone? That's
a good question. And before I answer it, I'm going to look. Okay, I'm going to share one. Can I share screen one more time? Is that all right?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, let me, application window, there we go. Okay. Now, everything that I'm about to say is going to have a asterisk on it because I've not tested it in the last several days or maybe even a couple of versions. So maybe this is going to be something we'll all test, and it might be my homework going away from here to work on further. If you go to settings and go to output, you can choose the folder that BlogStomp will save your images to. Now, some people, this first option here, this first checkbox says save image to source folder. So if I've got all my images in my client folder, and my client folders are specific to each shoot or each wedding, if I take my edits folder, run it through BlogStomp, and I can have it saved right back to that edited folder in a subfolder called Stomped. Other folks prefer just to have it saved to a folder on their desktop, but who was it that asked that question? Sorry, who am I addressing here?
You
guest
are
3409.
Yes.
All right, guest 3409. Here's your and my homework. We're going to work on this together. Hit browse and navigate to your Dropbox and give that a try. And in the best scenario, it'll work. In the worst scenario, it won't. But if you don't mind, if it doesn't work, reach out to us, info@stompsoftware.com. And our support team would love to get with the dev team and see what we can work out there. Because I know that I know a lot of companies and studios that use Dropbox like extensively, especially when you've got parts of different teams in different places, like we've got. So that'd be something worth looking into. Thanks for asking that. That's a good thought.
Yeah. And then Mark asked if 500 pixels was an option. I'm not exactly sure if he's talking about resolution or.
I took that to mean direct upload to the 500 pix website.
Got it. Okay.
That's interesting. I don't know if their API is open. I can ask our development team to look into that. It's not something that we've got built in at this time, but that doesn't mean it's not possible. Usually when we don't have something included already, either either they don't have an open API or an available API, or we just didn't think about that one. We forgot about that one. Or in some cases, there are some older legacy kind of sharing sites that don't have as much prominence these days. And it was a risk benefit kind of thing of developing hours versus how many people would actually use it. But every voice, every +1, every thumbs up for one of those avenues is something that we consider heavily. So if 500 pixels is something that you use a lot, is important to you, like, we'll definitely take your suggestion into consideration and see what we can do about it.
Awesome. So I know we had a few other questions in the chat box. I'm going to scroll back through and get those answered. But if you want to touch on the last point, then we'll kind of open it up to the rest of the questions that have come in. That's okay? Sounds great. The last point is kind of a no-brainer, really. But the last step is to ship it. It's to get your wedding, get your shoot, get your wedding, get whatever out of your studio and into your client's hands. It's really what we're all here to do anyway. I spent a whole lot of time on step number 4, which was about sharing images. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of photographers do as well. They get hung up on that step. And things like getting weddings out the door can sometimes be an afterthought, or, oh, yeah, I probably should do that in the next week or 3. The reason that we do what we do should be, I hope, to delight our clients. To make sure that they know that they are super important to us. And so keeping all of the other bits in check, streamlining your workflow, sorting quickly, sharing the images online, getting all that stuff refined to as lightweight and as quick a process as possible, really should drive that final step of getting the images out the door and in your client's hands. It's the most important one, because sharing images online, sharing images on Instagram and Facebook, racking up tens of thousands of followers. Your followers don't pay your bills. Your clients do. And one of your followers telling another of your followers, hey, you should check out this photographer, is nothing in comparison to one of your former clients going to their friends saying, I had the most amazing experience with Megan shooting my wedding or photographing my family. You have to hire her for the next thing you do. And so the digital sharing side of things is super, it's sexy right now. It's super, everybody wants to collect the likes and the follows and the comments and all that. But we have to keep in mind why we exist and why we do what we do. Why our industry is a service industry. We are there to serve. So serve your clients well, make great work and get it in their hands. But don't get hung up on step number 4. Make sure that step number 5 follows it very, very closely. So yeah, that pretty much wraps kind of what I had to say. And let me give a bit of a disclaimer for the whole thing. There's no one right way to set up your post-processing, to set up your studio, to set up your business model. Find what works for you. These are things that we found to work really well for us, and we know of hundreds and thousands of photographers who find help with some of these steps. If 1 or 2 of these is not right for you, I get that, and that's fine. I certainly wouldn't come here to preach, but if anything, it's a challenge to find the things that help you to be the best photographer you can, to serve your clients well, and to not be saddled with the weight of excessive task lists and clumsy or unrefined workflow. So yeah, I guess that's that. Well, Chip, thank you so much for sharing those with everyone. I think that was super helpful. I know we got a lot of great feedback in the chat box, both on BlogStomp as well as some questions for you. So I'm going to just kind of go through the list, read through the questions that came in that we haven't touched on yet. And then if anyone else has any questions that they haven't had a chance to ask or would like answered while we're opening this up, then please feel free to leave them in the chat box. We'll have Chip answer for you. Then we'll kind of close out with the giveaway and follow up, okay? Awesome. Okay. So the first question is from Gigi Mar. I have BlogStomp 2.82. Can I upgrade under the same license, I guess? Yes. So with all of our software tools, any mid-version updates are free. So like if Gigi started at 2.12,
2.13, 14, 20, 50. Those were all free updates. This is a new version, so it is a paid upgrade. But Gigi, we've got we created a discounted upgrade path, and you should have received an email from us at a couple of points throughout the last year or so with your discounted upgrade link. If you don't see that in your inbox, if maybe you're not using that email address anymore, reach out to our support team. Again, that same email address, info@stompsoftware.com. We'd be more than happy to find your upgrade path for you and help you with that.
Perfect. Awesome. So I think you covered this throughout the presentation, but Mark did say in the beginning, is BlogStomp a standalone web page, or can I incorporate that onto my site as an add-on?
So BlogStomp itself is a desktop-based software tool. So it's not a blog platform. It's not a website. It helps to prep your images for your blog from your desktop or laptop computer. So I guess I don't know if I'm answering really what he's asking. Was he asking if it's a website or like a plugin or something?
I think what I gathered was it was, once you create the image in BlogStomp, like where can you send it, or do you have to share the BlogStomp page that you're creating, that kind of thing.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so I think you covered a lot of that in the presentation.
Well, and let me say this too. All of our software tools come with a free trial version, which is completely it's not limited in any way. We just have a little watermark on anything that's exported or uploaded. But for those who aren't familiar with BlogStomp, if you go to StompSoftware.com, you can read about our different software offerings. You can download the free trial and give it a try. See if it'll work with your platform. Like, for example, BlogStomp works excellently with WordPress to publish blogs, but Squarespace has not opened up their API. So we can't publish to Squarespace the same way we can to WordPress. Now that's only one of dozens of features that isn't available to Squarespace users. But if you're wanting to check out BlogStomp for that one thing of blog publishing and you're on a Squarespace site, it'd be better to find that out before you've parted with your hard-earned dollars than to find out after. So I would encourage all of you guys, even those of you on BlogStomp version 2, check out BlogStomp 3. See if you like it. We're certainly not taking version 2 away from you at all, but there's a ton that we built in BlogStomp 3. I mean, I touched on 10% of it today. I would love for you to give that a try and see if there are things there that would help in each of your workflow, and especially if you're not familiar with the software at all, to kind of get your hands dirty and see how things feel and move and all that. And you can test your own blog connectivity and Facebook integration and stuff like that with the trial version.
Awesome. That sounds perfect. I knew of the free trial. I just hadn't thought of that. Well, people were asking questions. I should have written that.
Good. No, good.
And so then Jared asked, did I miss this? Does the StompSoftware streamline the SEO titles, descriptions, tagging, etc.?
I'm gonna share screen again if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Cool. Let me get back here.
Floor is yours.
You'd think I'd be smoother at this whole share screen process. So in BlogStomp, I'm still in the settings tab. I'm gonna go to the blog tab here, and you can see I've got my my blog set up. I've given it a name. I've got my URL and then my login details. When I go to publish a blog, it will populate this field with the images that are in my Stomp folder. So I can look at images created today, this week, this month, or all images. And so then I can take my images and put them in place here. We have with SEO. SEO is kind of a tricky beast, right? Like there's, it's one of those like there are not just two ways to skin a cat sort of notion. What we've found to be the most effective are alt tags and title tags. So you can set up BlogStomp to read embedded keywords, like from Lightroom or from wherever you've already added keywords, or you can use just the image file name, which when you stomp your images, you can give it a custom file name, or you can type custom alt tags here. So I might say the first set of images: Napa, wedding, winery, vineyard, whatever sorts of keywords I want to put in there, and then I can either copy those down to the title tag field or what have you. But that way, when I add my images, you'll see here in the alt section, any words that I put in there will come in, and also in the title section here. So so as far as streamlining your tagging and stuff, typing it in every time doesn't necessarily streamline. But if you already are in the habit of tagging images, like for example in Lightroom, using embedded keywords can help with that process and save time and that sort of thing. Did that answer that question?
I believe so. I think that's what Jared was wondering in terms of SEO tagging. Leslie Gibson says, love that feature. That's huge. So I think at least some people got that.
For sure.
And then guest 3409 says, for the blog, do we type in the text, and BlogStomp helps us place the images?
So when you're composing your blog, I can say BlogStomp test post 1. You can compose your entire blog post here in BlogStomp. So this is an amazing wedding.
Will you share your screen one more time just so we can see what you're doing?
You guys are getting a great view of my forehead while I show you. Oh my word, Megan, I'm new here. I'm sorry.
No, I love it. I love it.
Fired. Okay, sorry guys. Back in the BlogStomp blog pane. We've set it up so that when you've added your blog, it comes into this drop down here. If say you might manage multiple blogs, or you might even be a blogging service who composes and uploads blogs for 36 photographers. So you can set up as many blogs as you like. You can choose from the list here. You can give it a title, and then you can type, "This is an amazing wedding with Leslie and Corey," whatever kind of text copy you want there for your blog post, and then you can start to add your images in. And obviously these are kind of the same images that I did a while ago, but you can stack stuff in like this, and then you can do a return, and here's my favorite. I don't know why I talk funny when I type. I'm sorry guys, that's a bit ridiculous. But so you can add commentary in line before you upload. You can pick your category and then upload like that. And when it goes to your blog, the title's in place, all of your text copy, your introduction text copy, any inline copy is in place, and the blog post goes up just like that. So it makes it super fast. Like I've pretty much stopped logging into my blog's back end at all, because I can do everything that I need to do here in BlogStomp. So that's one of the things that is pretty handy, especially WordPress. With other platforms like Blogger, it's a little bit different, because Blogger uses like an email upload kind of process, which Squarespace used to use, but then they discontinued that. Anyway, lots of options there. If you have questions about whether or not your blog platform is supported, please don't hesitate to reach out to our info@stompsoftware.com email address. Our support team would be happy to test with you, to answer your questions, to walk through any processes that need to be worked through there, and to help you get set up and running.
Awesome. So, and I think I helped answer, but guest 3409 ended up following up and saying, can the images be interspersed with more text, which I believe would just be in between?
Yeah. If that's what the person's meaning, then the answer is yes. You can you can do text between every image. You can do. Yeah. I mean, really, you could upload a 12-paragraph blog post with one image if you want, or what have you. Okay. Perfect. I just saw the one about Pinterest, the recommended width for Pinterest. Memory's going to fail me here, but
I think I just saw it. You still there, Chip? I might have lost you.
And that sort of thing.
Oh, there we go.
I'd like to share one more thing with Pinterest, actually. Can I show one more thing in my styles pane? Yeah, and just to clarify, it looks like the most recent data is saying 735 pixels wide with a 1 to 3 length.
kind of thing. So
okay.
that helps.
So the thing about Pinterest that I really like, am I sharing screen yet? Yeah, it looks like I am.
You are. Yep.
Pinterest likes really kind of long, tall sort of arrangements, like maybe even like this, except in the main, like for the individual posts, long, tall images can be really strong, or long, tall arrangements of images can be really strong. But in the grid view, you only see, like you said, like a 1-to-3 ratio. So what I've done that is maybe a little bit sneaky for Pinterest is I've changed where my logo sits. And this is a small preview. I'll show you back out of the main app window. But instead of having my logo at the bottom, like in all my other styles, I have it at the top. And when I'm building specifically for Pinterest, let me get my Pinterest style here. When I'm building specifically for Pinterest, I'll hit, there's a little icon here that's a gray rectangle, a gray square, and an orange square. And that allows you to add a color block to your arrangement. So did you say 735? Is that right? And then height, I'll just do like 100. So let me go back here. I'll add a color block like this, and then I'll put it at the top. And that way, well, goodness, let me get rid of some of these so we can see a little better. That way, when it's in this arrangement, when it's going, vertical like that, my logo is visible, even if the bottom half or third or 2/3 of my post is hidden below, outside of their preview crop. So that's something to consider for Pinterest is a logo at the top versus the bottom. That way, if someone clicks on the pin, obviously they'll see the whole thing and they'll see your logo or web URL, whatever. But if they don't click on it, this way they can still see your name, your identifiers.
Got it.
So that might prove handy. Yeah, sorry, I hear the dings, but I wasn't watching. Anything else come in?
Let's see. So Katrina was asking about hosting platforms. We've got a few options for her in here. Sorry, and I wrote Bluehost, but I meant Bluehost. Sorry, Katrina. And HostGator, Squarespace, GoDaddy. So all those are great options for hosting a site. Let's see. And thanks for everyone who answered that.
You've been on DreamHost for years, and I've had a great experience with DreamHost as well.
Yeah. DreamHost. Okay.
To throw that in. Well. Yeah.
Perfect.
Anyway, no shortage of hosts. That might also be another one, guys, that I would I might pitch that to your local group as well, and just say, hey, anybody have any amazing success stories or horror stories with any particular web hosts? The biggest thing with web hosts is just their support. Like a web host that is unwilling to kind of get off their duff and help you out, man, that can be, especially if you're locked into a 12 or 24-month contract with them, can really make you hate life.
Right.
So I would definitely get feedback, from folks you trust. So yeah, check these out, see what else is out there, and be helpful for you.
Awesome. Well, we are hitting the 1 hour mark, and I know everybody's got plenty to do, so I don't want to take up too much time, but we did have a few questions come in here and there. Again, if you guys have anything else for Chip or I, you can reach out to info@StompSoftware. You can also reach out to support@CG ProPrints. I'll put both these email addresses into the chat box so you guys have this moving forward. But yeah, we'd be happy to help you out with any questions. You can certainly jump on StompSoftware, grab your free trial, kind of see how this will work out for your site, and we'll kind of offer you some support from there. Did you have anything you wanted to add, Chip, before we jump into the giveaway?
No, I think that's about wraps. I'm sorry I talked so much, guys. Thanks for hanging in with us. That's cool of you.
No, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, we had a lot of people throughout the whole time, so this is perfect. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by. We really, really loved it. Oh, and actually, Chip, we had one more question come in. Said, any idea if BlogStomp will integrate with Squarespace?
I just answered in the comments, actually. As soon as Squarespace opens up their API, we've reached out to them, and I'm not exaggerating, at least 12 times a year for the past 3 years, maybe 4 years. And we keep getting ghosted from them. We've even tried to, like, hey, your brother works for Squarespace, right? You want to hook us up? You want to connect us? But they're unwilling right now. It would seem to us to open up their API. As soon as they do, oh my gosh, that is like priority one as far as blog connectivity is Squarespace, because it's such a great platform. We just wish that they would play nice. You know,
right.
so we will definitely make noise about that when it happens. We will make it very public. I saw one more question that asked if this will be replayed. If the replay is available.
Sorry. And yes, everybody, this will be replayed. We'll actually embed the YouTube recording in our blog. So we'll share that with you guys via email as soon as that's ready to go. Chip will give you the recording as well. You can find it on our YouTube channel. It's just at CG Pro Prints. This has been all recorded, so you'll be able to see everything there. Even Chip and I kind of just bantering back and forth in the beginning.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
What
See if
would
we
do
can edit
without
that
it?
out. But okay, so I'm so happy that everybody was able to stay, and I hope everybody got a lot of value out of this. I know that we did. This was awesome, and we're gonna do a giveaway. So we'll start with. Should we start with you, Chip? And I figure what we'll do is introduce the prize you're giving away, and then I'll give you a number between 1 and how many people are currently live watching this, and you can just kind of count down and decide who's the winner.
Sounds awesome.
Perfect.
So what we wanted to give away was one free license for BlogStomp. It might be though that the winner already has BlogStomp. So what we're going to do is give a credit for $49 in our store that can be used across any of our products. So maybe you're using BlogStomp but haven't checked out AlbumStomp yet, or maybe you use BlogStomp and AlbumStomp, but would be interested in a year subscription to Album Proofer, our online proofing tool. Or maybe you already use all three, but want to just add a year for Proofer. Whatever you want to do, you can give it away if you want to. But so we'll do a $49 credit in our store, good for any of our products. So what do you need? A number from me? Is that right?
No, so I'll give one to you, and then we'll switch vice versa for the CG Pro giveaway.
Perfect,
so it looks like we have got a total of 35 viewers online currently. Thank you everyone for staying through the end. You are now in the running to win this year subscription to StompSoftware, or one of the Stomp software opportunities. So let's see, I will give you number 13.
All right, 13. Perfect. So am I counting from the top?
So if you can, so if you unhide, like in that chat box, if you see that everybody just kind of count down and see who's number 13.
3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 13. I see Leslie Gibson.
There we go.
Gibson, Leslie Gibson Guy, it looks like. Sorry, I just saw the first part of your name. So Leslie, you are the big winner.
And Leslie actually said she has AlbumStomp, so she may be able to take advantage of something else.
Cool. Well, perfect. Or Leslie, if you're already stacked up and don't have need to use it right now, bless somebody around you. Maybe there's somebody who's a new photographer in your area who could really be helped out by something that we've got to offer. So whoop, I like it. Cool. So
awesome. So Leslie, if you could just reach out to Chip, should she email info@StompSoftware and just
no, Leslie, if you'll email chip@stompsoftware.com. I'll take care of that for you personally.
Perfect. I'll put that in there.
I was about to type. If you don't mind.
All right, and then we are going to give away a $100 print credit to CG Pro Prints. I know a lot of people could use that for studio samples. As soon as we hit busy season, things get crazy, so stock up now. And Chip, if you want to do the honors and give me a number 1 through 35, I'll announce the CG Pro winner.
Dude, that sounds awesome. Like, I want to win that. If I give you number 2, does that mean me or no? Let's
Chip, you get 100 just for doing this.
Oh my goodness, that's good of you. Let's go with big number 21. Who's 21?
Okay. So here we go. Got to count in. Whew. All right. 3, 4, 5.
You can start at 13 if you want, because that's Leslie.
Oh, that's true. 17. 20. So guest 3535 is our $100 winner. I'm going to write this in here. Congrats, guest. Oh, sorry, I wrote 25.
Oh. Sweet.
Perfect. I'm not sure who that is, but if you could email Megan@CGProPrints. I can handle that for you as well. So congrats, guest 3535. Congrats, Leslie. Thank you so much for staying to the end. It was awesome. I hope you guys got a ton of value out of this. I know Chip had so much to share with you, and I'm so glad everybody could come. And again, Leslie emailed Chip at StompSoftware, guest3535. You can email me, Megan at CG ProPrints. And again, yeah, this will be available for recording. We'll have it on both our YouTube channel. We'll share the link with Chip so he can share it on his site. And we'll also have it on our blog as soon as we can get that embedded. We'll send that out via email. So thank you so much to everyone. Chip, I'll turn over to you to say goodbye.
Yeah, well, guys, thanks for sticking with me. Sorry I rattled your ear off, but hopefully there's something in there. If there's one takeaway from today, I hope that you found some little nugget of wisdom that will help you be better at what you do and have an easier time of it. So thanks for letting me share, Megan. It's been really fun talking with you today. And yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
Chip, you too. It was awesome having you on. And yeah, we'll be having more of these webinars throughout the year. So just look out via email for all those. And thanks again, Chip, for everything today. It was awesome.
It's my pleasure. Talk to you soon.
All right, guys, signing off. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.